purpose of this exhibition? This is the third edition of this exhibition. And let's talk about the purpose and get it.
Well, I've had quite a number of exhibitions. This is the fourth in the series of expressions. And I've had solo exhibitions, I've had group exhibitions. The idea is to project the work that we do. The idea is to put forward the ideas that we believe that are in art. The idea is to let the whole world know the potentials, the creativity that we have. And then also, in most of my works, I try to depict the diverse cultures of Nigeria, and I try to connect both the northern, the southern, the southwest, the southeast, and all that. Those diverse cultures, the Benin, the Do culture, and all of that, in most of my works. And I believe that that will be part of the whole concept of uniting the country and removing all the lines that block the oneness that we need in this country. That's exactly what I do. I mean, apart from being a sculptor, I'm into painting and all that, and I've researched my works to where I play with fabrics. If you look at my works, and these fabrics in two-dimensional concept. Because of my training as a sculptor, when I paint, I infuse the 2 and 3 dimensions into a flat surface to get the object, and I play with colors a lot. I do also abstract paintings, but I'm mostly an art curator. That's why I've written the book that you have here. I curate the works and I nurture young artists, and I've been in this business for almost 3 decades plus. So it's amazing what we do. The concept of the creative industry cannot be, the value of the creative industry in Nigeria cannot be emphasized. The creative industry is a $56 billion value, and the potentials are yet to be tapped properly. Here, a lot of artists don't have access to what they need to give their maximum. But with a little support from the government, which we've been talking about over the years, most artists can survive, be happy to their full potentials. The creative industry is involved, it's not just fine art, it's involved in fashion designing, makeup, drama, and all of that. And this, all entities on their own in terms of potentials for the country. We can upscale the values that we can get in this country if the creative industry is promoted and enhanced and artists are supported.
Okay, thank you, sir. So what has been the feedback from guests and buyers that have come since the beginning of the event this year?
Well, we just opened this exhibition 3 days ago, and if we're not doing well, we won't be doing it often. I mean, this is business for me. But besides the business aspect, it's also a passion, fulfillment for me. For me, I don't believe that it's just to make the money, but also to support younger artists who need that step to ladder to climb. I create avenues where I do group exhibitions, where I bring in young artists and give them the exposure they need. I take their works international, I take them Africa, Europe, America, all over the world. This is what I do, this is what gives me joy.
Okay, thank you, sir. So what has been the challenges staging such an exhibition? This is the 3rd edition.
Well, this is 3rd edition of Expressions. I've had over 10 exhibitions here. The challenge is the cost of renting the space. I'm going to be here for 1 month, and I won't tell you without being, if I tell you how much it costs to do this, but I don't think about it in terms of naira and copper. I think about it in the value that I give to the industry, which I love so much, which has done so much for me. But the challenge is the resources. There's a lot of money to, Transcorp, if you're going to be in Transcorp, you know that you're going to pay top dollar to be here. Because there's no other place. The reason I do exhibitions here is because of the security. Most people want to come here because they feel safe, and this is a place where you don't spend too much money to do advance for you to have an exhibition. I have spaces where I can get for free, but to drive the collectors there, could be very difficult to bring them over there. So I do exhibitions here because it's convenient for most art collectors who feel safe to be either in-house guests or people who come in here. And that's why I do it all the time.
Okay,
to get the space here is even difficult because sometimes it's booked for the whole year. But we try to get by.
Do you also think that such exhibition is a good avenue for the government to earn through tourism for the country?
Yeah, of course. I mean, art is what feeds the museums. Museums is what brings people together to look at the works of every nation. And when people come together, they pay money to look at. If you go to Sotheby's of London, if you go to Jack Bell of London, if you go to the UK Museum, the revenue for UK Museum every year is over 250 million pounds. Every quarter, 250 million pounds every quarter in the UK. You can imagine that kind of money, 4 times in a whole year. The French Museum and all over the world, even the museums in Satori and in America and all that, is a major revenue generating source for the government because they have security, because the museums are equipped, because they are well funded, and because the government puts in money. A lot of countries depend on tourism. This maybe because we have oil in Nigeria, we're distracted from the area that we should channel our resources to be able to jack up the revenue in the country. If you go to Morocco, where I visit all the time, tourism is a major part of the revenue. Even in Egypt, so these are areas that the government needs to look into and reignite and put the right people in the right places. A lot of times, you find out if you go to ministries like Minister of Health, you have a doctor there, Minister of Justice, you have a lawyer there, but only in arts, in the creative industry, that you find people from other fields heading the institutions of government. That is wrong, because it's like putting a round peg in a square hole. The government will need to be intentional about putting in people who are professionals in areas like the Ministry of Arts and Culture and all of that, not just politics. And that's why we have the challenge, bringing in people who do not understand the industry. And that's one of the reasons that we advocate for professionals to head these institutions. And then the issue of corruption also has eaten deep into the society, that a lot of people don't do the right thing, they don't do what they're supposed to do to support the government the way they should.
Okay, final one. What are your final thoughts for, let's say, encouragement to upcoming artists?
Well, I try to support a lot of artists in what I do, and that's why sometimes when I hold exhibitions, I bring in young artists Well, everything I do is to support. When I hold exhibitions, I bring in young artists. I have a lot of them proteges. I do group exhibitions and I bring them in, and I help them sometimes with funding. I help them to create their works, and I help them to bring in collectors to buy their works. And that's the biggest support that I believe I can give to them. Creating an enabling environment for them to showcase their work. Because a lot of artists I lead an association of artists with over 4,000 artists. A lot of them do not know how to put their works together. I also wrote a book for them to look at and to understand how they can, project their works, how they can sell their works, how they can curate their works, and how they can identify what they need to do in the industry, the business part of the art business. And that's one of the biggest supports that they can give, the young artists. And it's been worth my while. I get the biggest encouragement, fulfillment when I have young artists on my stable in an exhibition with me, and I try to make sure that they get reward for their work.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
God bless you. Thank you.
Good afternoon, ma'am. So, can you tell us your name and the purpose of this exhibition here today?
Okay, my name is Beatrice Chiri. Yeah, we are here to showcase our works to people. My little experience here.
Okay. So can you tell us the quality of artwork that we have here today?
We have amazing quality of art pieces here. So these are not regular artworks you see anywhere or roadside artwork. They are artworks that we have taken time to create, if you can see that.
Okay. So what has been the feedback from the buyers and the guests that are coming today?
So far we're having amazing feedbacks from people who come around to buy artworks here, and they are really impressed with the work they are seeing, and they are really willing to get them in their spaces.
Okay. Thank you very much. Then also the challenges. What are the challenges artists face? You think they face in this exhibiting such a caliber of works? Yeah.
What would I say is the challenge? The challenge is the economy. I would say it's the economy. Some people have ideas, but bringing them to life is their challenge. Connecting that to the economy, I would say the cost of production is so high. Yeah, that's a challenge I feel.
Okay, so what do you think the government should do for artists generally in Nigeria? Painters, sculptors, and what have you?
I think the government should first of all recognize the artists, then see ways to assist them to make it easier for us artists, like maybe subsidizing the cost of production for the artists. I don't know how that will happen, but they should find a way to work around that.
Okay, thank you very much, ma'am. Your thoughts about the quality of artworks that you saw here today, the paintings and the thoughts about them. How do you feel about them?
So the real art person and lover is here. So I'll let her tell you.
I mean, the artwork is beautiful, really, really beautiful. The concepts that they have put into their art is like boldly reflected. It's just multiple pieces that I really just love. Just really love. Unfortunately, I can't remember the names, and because I'm American, it takes me time to even say the names. But I certainly will at some point purchase some of the pieces that I saw. But just really good work. Yeah.
I think it's absolutely amazing work. And oftentimes when you can meet the artist who actually did the work,
Yeah.
it just moves it to another level.
Another level, yeah.
So, absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Okay. So what are the let's say encouragements you have for the painter and the sculptor, the artist? The encouragement you have for them?
Keep going, and the world is really big, and with social media, get your work out there. You're no longer just confined to where you live. Everybody around the world can see your work, and just take advantage of it. Use social media, Instagram, TikTok, use it.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am.